Hello, this is Steven, and you're watching Session Sonore with a new episode of our meetings. Today we have the huge pleasure to meet WJ, who is sitting next to me, in I think one of his favorite places, which is Club Vaak in Antwerp. Hello, Wouter.
Hi, Steven.
How are you?
Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure also to see you again.
Yeah, we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, it was a pleasure seeing you after all these years.
Same for me, and a real pleasure to have you to be here in this nice place.
Yeah.
For me, it's the first time, and I hope it won't be the last one.
Hope so too. You should come visit.
But for you, it's a regular place to be.
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about what makes this place so special for you?
Yeah, sure. It's one of the really underground clubs in Antwerp still. And I think when I started playing a lot and when we saw each other a lot, it was in another famous club in Antwerp, which was Petrol.
Petrol, yeah. I remember this was a really great night. Yeah.
And really underground. It was really cool location. So yeah, that's they closed that down. There are actually apartment buildings there. It's a whole new part of Antwerp.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes. Yeah? That's life. That's evolution. And
yeah,
but I have to say that Club Vaak, a really nice club in Antwerp, if you want to discover the more underground styles of music.
Yeah.
Really cool guys who run the club as well. And for me, it's special because, they kept booking me in the past years a lot. I think I play here 4 or 5 times a year, sometimes even on Thursdays in the week.
Okay.
And it's vage donderdagen, as they say in Dutch. So,
yeah, in French it's jeudi, hein?
Ouais, c'est ça. And so yeah, I always enjoy playing here. The booth is in the middle of the club, so people are around you.
Yeah, it's
good
really
light.
nice. Really.
So for me, I have the chance to play here a lot of times before. Also big names like Ben Klock. I have a really cool one coming up in October with a big name, and I do the warming up or the closing of the night. And so yeah, these guys believe in me and let me do my thing here. And,
cool.
I like it.
Yeah, and you have the chance to play IC Function 1 also there?
Yeah, it's good sound.
Good sound, yeah.
You can feel it. Yeah. You should.
Very great. All right, Wouter or WJ, let's do a kind of flashback. In 2008, you kicked off the Red Room by Dave Clarke at the legendary festival I Love Techno. You were only 22 at the time. It was quite an era, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Very different from now, but
yeah, indeed.
It was quite something, yeah.
Could you describe what you felt when you played there in front of the crowd?
Yeah, as you said, I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
I got there because, and not a lot of people know this, but it's nice. It's a nice story, but it was a DJ contest. I didn't have the idea to participate, but my sister actually sent in one of my mixes.
Okay.
And then a few weeks later, I got this phone call. And was
Good
like,
sister.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Caroline. And yeah, she sent it in, and a few weeks later I got a phone call. Hi, this is Dave Clarke.
Whoa.
It was surreal. You want to open the Red Room, and I didn't believe it at first. So yeah, at 22 years old, also in a period where techno wasn't as popular or established, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if it's established. It's popular. Let's keep it at that, as it is now. Everybody's talking about techno, but then I think you remember there were only maybe 10 DJs in Belgium playing techno.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Like the hardgroove stuff, Swedish stuff, Napoli stuff. It was rare, You had Red Dead, you had Marco Bailey, of course, Tom Hayes, T-Quest, I remember, as these guys, but for the rest, and Chris, obviously. But for the rest, not much techno going on. So for me to finally get this chance to play a huge stage, so how I felt, I was nervous.
Yeah,
so nervous.
I can imagine.
It was incredible. And I was playing vinyl back then as well.
Yeah.
And so my first mix, I fucked it up. Not like disastrous, but a little bit like a skip. The needle skipped, and I was like, oh, my first mix. And normally, if you have your first mix and you did it, and
then it goes.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah.
But so I was really nervous, and it went really fast as well. The whole set, it just flew by.
Yeah.
And I think I really enjoyed a few moments when I was really getting more comfortable and more at ease, and then it's this feeling that you're not overthinking everything, but and then I had to tell this to myself. enjoy the moment here because it's 5,000 people.
Well,
they're screaming, they're liking what you're doing, and they're enjoying themselves. You're having them in motion, they're dancing, and that's the job of, it was a warming up set. So you want to have people dancing and get them in the mood for more. So yeah, super nervous, and then I eased into it, and I really enjoyed a few moments, like when I also played I Love Techno anthem by Sharpside, which was for me back then already a nice classic. But
great.
And I saw him, he was there, Psycho Gene, he was there, and he saw it, so he was really like, you played my anthem. I felt really small, all these big names, like I saw DJ Rush, Dave Clarke, and then T-Quest were having dinner in the backstage, and I was sitting there with them, like, hey, dreams coming true. With my sister, she was there as well.
Oh,
so
great.
It was a really cool experience, and I'm really thankful still. I see Dave. It's strange, I'm at Amsterdam Dance Event every year, also for my work, and I see him there actually every year, and we just say hello, we do a quick chat, and he goes like, Walter Jensen, that's me, and then that's nice, so I'm really thankful, and I think he knows. If he doesn't, I'm telling him again, but that allowed me to kind of kickstart my career a little bit as a DJ, so I'm really grateful that I had that.
Great, very interesting anecdote. Really, I like it. And when we were discussing and organizing this interview, by the way, just to tell you, we were talking about I Love Techno. The video from you mixing is also available on his Instagram, so don't hesitate to have a look, knowing that the technology was not the same at that time, and that the quality of image and sound sometimes
it's horrible.
It's,
it's pixels and crackling sound.
But that's how it went at that time. So it's an interesting thing to do. But back to the way we organized this interview, you mentioned that you had taken a step back from social media. Indeed, before you resumed communication on Instagram, your last post was in June 2020. Can you explain why you distanced yourself from social networks and also why you returned to them?
Yeah, we come from I come from an age where social media hardly existed. We had MySpace, I think. That was the first one.
Yeah, we will come to that.
Yeah. But it was not really social media. It was just a place, and it wasn't easy back then to build a website either. You didn't have Squarespace, WordPress, it didn't exist. So you had to find a way to be visible online, and then you had MySpace, and then afterwards you had Facebook and Instagram and all these things. And what I saw in 2020, or felt, I think more importantly, was also COVID. I think these years were really difficult for everyone in events, no matter what you do, if you're an artist or a supplier. And
indeed.
It was a hard time, and then I just realized that all the time that I was spending on social media, and not only for the DJ stuff, but also personally, I was spending too much time on it and wasting a lot of time, seeing what other people were doing, which is also not very accurate, because what you post is not always reality and how your life is, but it's the image you want to portray. So personally, there was something inside me saying, this is not making me happy, it's not useful spending my time on this. And then for the artist stuff and all my DJ stuff, that really started, I didn't gain anything positive from it. I have to admit, I often compared to other DJs, and then I started comparing, wow, he has a lot of gigs, I don't have a lot of gigs. It made me insecure maybe, it made me doubt. And I decided to step back from it, and a lot of people said, you're crazy for doing that. You're crazy for, you're gonna ruin everything, you're gonna lose your career and gigs. And I thought I'll take my chances and I'll see, because it wasn't the most important thing for me. I was really tired of finding things to post on there and to find. I'm not the guy who's going to put his cat on the turntable and go like, look at my cat. but that's what's happening. It doesn't have anything to do with it.
You should do it just for the joke.
Yeah, maybe. Now I can do it. Now I told it in the interview, I'll do it. But it's, no, there was nothing positive coming out of it. And I took a chance. And I have to admit that I did see a decline. And on the other hand, I was lucky because I did have a network of parties, promoters that I knew where I played, like the guys from Club Vaag, and they just kept booking me, and then they said, you do your job, it doesn't matter how many followers you have or whatever. Indeed. And I think it's a pity that it has come to that. We saw the evolution.
Yeah, but what you tell is true about the the numbers, there is also always the danger to fall in this trap, to just follow the followers, to see, oh, I have 2 followers more and 10 likes more. Is it really the reason why you do it, or what is the real reason? And if you know it, then I think the followers and the likes will come naturally. You see? So, and it's just a part of your business. I mean, not everybody is active really on social media like other people. So it's a good way to communicate, but yeah, you have to be careful and conscious about it.
Yeah,
I think.
I really am now, because as you said, I reactivated it.
Yeah.
And that's because I started with Bright Bookings, a new booking agency. I'm really excited, and yeah, they told me you have to have at least something. And I said, I have a website and I have a SoundCloud. And they were like, yeah, but you have to be able to connect to people. And I have to admit, a lot of people, when I played at gigs here or whatever, during these 3-4 years that I didn't have social media, I had a lot of people come up and ask me, where can I find you? And I always said, yeah, look at my website, and then you can find my sets and videos, and that's the most important stuff. But now I use it for myself, it's my decision, but I think that I use it in a responsible way. I think I'm on it. It's in a folder, not even on my home screen. It's somewhere deep inside my phone, and then sometimes I open it if I have something to tell, like there's a new gig, or I have a nice video, and it's not a video that I'm moving like this and it looks like really dynamic, but it really isn't dynamic. It's a truthful video of me playing and doing what I do, or stuff like that. I really want to use it to communicate, and also what I like is seeing how other people are doing meanwhile, because I missed a lot. There are other guys in the booking agency that I never heard of, so it was really cool getting to know them, also in a better way. That's also what I noticed when I didn't have the social media. Friends acted as my filter, so they saw stuff, and sometimes, like my best friend, he would say like, oh, did you see this post of this artist? Oh, did you see what they were doing? And I'm like, no, I didn't, and I don't mind. And then he gave me other stuff or information, stuff that he knew was interesting for me, so they acted as my filter, which was nice. So now I try to use it in a responsible way, and I do see the use of it, but I also am very conscious of not ending up in the limitless scroll and the endless scroll, and just, I don't think our brains are made to process all that information and all that stuff. And
I don't think so either.
It doesn't make, I still feel the same way, that doesn't make me happy. If I start my day doing that, even on other stuff like LinkedIn that I use for my job, for instance, I get the same feeling. Like, I already read like 17 things and I didn't have my first coffee yet. So it's not the way I want to start my day.
And the question is, do you remember what you saw first when you started by swiping?
Probably not.
See,
goes so fast.
Yeah, indeed.
So no, it's back in my life, but I think in a good way. I try not to be influenced, because you hear it a lot also from other artists that you compare, or you go like, oh, look at them touring the world and I'm not there yet, and it doesn't matter. Do your own thing, what makes you happy. Yeah, true. I'm starting to sound really fluffy, but that's what I believe. It's true. It's better, and it's practice what you preach. I always have to discipline myself to think like that, but I try to do so.
Cool. So speaking about social networks, you were mentioning MySpace. So back in the early 2000s. Since then, we've seen a whole series of social networks emerging, each with its own codes and target audience. Which network do you think is most suitable for the DJ profession, and why?
Well, in all honesty, I think if you really want to go to the basics of it, and even there, I have second thoughts, but I think about SoundCloud, stuff like that. There's a market now to see streaming videos, a lot of images and photos about how an artist dresses even, or how all the other stuff, the extra stuff. Okay, maybe I'm old and getting old or old school or whatever, but for me it's still about music a lot, and being surprised and being inspired. And for me, I spend a lot of time on SoundCloud actually, looking for tracks, looking for cool DJ sets. If I see something maybe on YouTube or Instagram nowadays, since I have it again, and I see a cool set and I see that it's been recorded, I'm not very likely to look at the video set, but I'll just listen to it in my car on SoundCloud to really enjoy the music, or when I'm running or something like that. or if it's someone who's really technical, because you'll remember also the videos, I think, from back in the day. You didn't have a lot of parties actually recording full sets.
No.
You had this, I'm forgetting the name, but you had this streaming platform that started with DJ sets. I don't remember the name. It'll come back to me. We can do an edit in the interview and edit or whatever. But that's the only streaming platform that you had, and then was mainly like EDM mainstream artists. But there were some dark and murky videos on YouTube where you could see like Ben Sims playing 3/4 decks final and that kind of stuff. I enjoyed looking at.
Yeah.
When I started DJing, you had TMF, the television station, and they had this program called The DJs, and then you would be in a bedroom with some DJ just playing music, and then I think that was intriguing for me to really stare at what they're doing on the mixer, what they're doing with how is the technique, how does it work. That's
more the educative side also from it.
So that's what I liked, but then again, to come back to your first question, actually, I think SoundCloud is useful. You can also react, get comments, etc. But it's also becoming less, because also that part of the business is becoming big business. Streaming, it's all becoming big business, unfortunately. But I think in the purest form, SoundCloud it speaks for itself. You have sets, you have tracks. Bandcamp is nice as well, but it's also stuff playing there. It's also changing. But for me, I think SoundCloud. It's a good.
Yeah, it's a really cool tool indeed. You and I enjoyed listening to the early 2000 techno with producers like Hertz, Pratap, Brian Sense. We have Gaetano Parisio, Ben Sims, Dave Clarke. I think we have tons of names that we could tell here. But today, techno has changed. How would you describe today's techno compared to the techno of the past?
It's, as I said in the beginning of our talk, I think it's hard for people to realize that in our time when we started going out or spending time on music, it was really underground. At the village where I lived, people had no idea what techno was. They didn't think I was credible as a techno DJ until I played I Love Techno. Then they were like, oh, okay, he knows what he's doing. Then suddenly people started listening. But for most people, the music was too repetitive, too difficult to understand, and minimal was very popular. I think electro as well. Yeah. But like the hard groove, up-tempo techno was niche, was way smaller, at least in Belgium. That's maybe too loud.
Yes. Ouais.
C'est quoi en fait?
Je sais pas. On va peut-être bientôt décoller. Hein? Ready for takeoff?
On va où?
Club Vac is moving to Chimay.
Chimay.
We need a techno club there. You were telling that, techno was niche, and also in your village, people didn't know about it.
No, and I saw a lot of, well, not a lot, there were a few parties going on back then. You had Kozzmozz, you had the Projekt parties, which was also in Liège once, where I played, 2007, before I Love Techno even, which was really cool. But it was way smaller. There weren't 15 options and clubs and parties, and there was still a club scene as well. That's also changed. The club scene, even I know we're in a club, but if you look at how it was and how people went to a club and heard a warming up DJ, and then maybe another resident, and then a peak time headliner that they brought in, and then a closing act, which mostly was a local or resident. It was a storyline. It built up and built down. I think what changed, and it's also very, very logical in a sense, but ignore that we had COVID, and there was an entire generation of kids like we at our age back then who wanted to go out, who were ready to go party, but they couldn't. Yeah. And they started looking at streams, and in a streaming set, obviously an artist doesn't have to warm up or whatever. It's not that people walk in and you just do your thing. So they also heard or saw whatever sets that started at 100% energy, and that's what they also expect. I think that's what I feel, at least, when they were allowed to go out again. They had to catch up. They lost 2 years. So and I see this here as well. If I play warming up set, I like warming up. It takes time and it's selection and feeling. I can feel it when I listen to your warm-up mixes. It's really something that comes up, and which is necessary to start the night. We think so.
Yeah.
But I think there's a generation here, and I see that sometimes, it depends on the night, but sometimes they come in, they have one beer and they're in front and they're going, they're ready. And that's something that I never felt when I started DJ. You always had to get them in the mood and get them going and wait maybe 4 beers and then it's maybe something started to happen.
Yeah.
But this generation has a lot of time to catch, I had a lot of not going out stuff and had to wait and had to be patient, and I understand that I really want to go for it now. I think I like that about techno these days. What I also like is that it's not that maybe purist anymore. There is purism, so I think that's everybody's right. If you want to go deep into hypnotic, bleepy techno and only play that, that's fine. But I started playing techno because I actually started playing trance when I really started. Yeah. But I got bored because for me it was too linear. Record A to B, wait to C, and I wanted to do tricks and 3 decks, and then I discovered techno, but trance also had a special place in my heart. And nowadays, I think everybody's calling everything techno, which isn't always correct. There's trance in there breaks, there's a lot of influences, and I think I like that. I think there's always good and bad music. Indeed. It is what it is. I also like putting in some transy sounds or acid and being maybe some booty, even whatever, if it fits the moment. Yeah. So that's what I like about the evolution of techno as a genre. I don't think you can call it a genre anymore, but it still is. But I think it's also become more of a movement, something.
It evolves, huh?
Yeah.
Like you did, like you told earlier in the interview, ways things are evolving. Techno music is also evolving. But I think there is still this thing that makes it a cultural movement. You see, it's inherent and to techno, and this is the good thing about it.
It's true. I agree. And also everything has become really fast again. That's also, and hard.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Also, I think an effect of COVID and people who want to make up for lost time, which is cool, but it cycles. We saw it as well in the years 2000 that you had the trance hard techno movement,
and then also it became slower.
Yeah,
we had the minimal wave, minimal tech house. Yeah. I remember the parties in the Fuse. Less is more, which had a lot of success. Yeah. And also really cool that Fuse always attached importance to have techno, slower beats like house, minimal tech house, and so on. So good to have them both.
Yeah, you have to have the variation, it's true. But I'm curious about what's going to come next now, because I have to be honest, what I see now at certain, musically with certain events or artists or whatever, I sometimes ask myself, we can't go much harder. It's going towards hardstyle and hardcore again. But then again, that's fine, and people are having so much fun. It looks awesome sometimes, the productions and the energy, and I get it. But no, I'm curious about what's going to come. But I think again, why compare and look at others? And I think what I also enjoyed when I started DJing is I listened to also the CDs. You'll know them, Club System.
Yeah,
you know the CDs?
yeah, sure.
Sven Lanvin who mixed these, and then you had house, you had techno, you had hardstyle. Everything was in there, and I enjoyed that someone was able to combine all these genres into one story. So I think that's the positive message of today. That I grew out of that purist, because I used to think, can I play this track because it has a vocal in it? I don't do that anymore. I just think, I feel like playing it. I think it will fit and whatever. I'm not too strict anymore. And people in the dance floor, they love it. Especially here, a lot of variation. Sometimes some booty, some DJ funk, or something like that. It's fun, and I think that's what it's about. That it's fun for me to play and fun for them to dance to. So
great. And today, a week ago, you posted some videos of yourself mixing in front of an enthusiastic crowd at the Natural Highs Festival. We can feel all the energy you put into your mix. Can you tell us more about how you build up the atmosphere for these outdoor events?
It was a very nice festival to play at. It was really close to my hometown, so I think it's nice. It was nice for me that a lot of family was there. I'm really talking family. Aunts, uncles, my mother-in-law. I have videos of her dancing on the stage with me. Actually.
Great.
Yeah, that's really nice. They really support me, and so it was a nice day. We were there the entire day. So to be honest, at Natural Highs, I also got an assignment from the organization. You have I think I only had 1 hour, yeah. You have an hour to close the festival. So building up wasn't really necessary there. They just told me just go hard or fast or whatever, how you want to do it, but close it off with a lot of energy. And my family, my girlfriend, they all told me like, you really didn't leave us any room to rest or to breathe. Yeah. So in this case, I actually selected tracks that would be, I knew I wanted to go, let's say, start at 138, 40, 140 BPM even. And I knew maybe I could end a little crazy around 150. And I know there's probably people thinking, well, it's pretty normal these days, but for me it's fast.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It is really fast. So for this particular set, I just went, I started, I was also very drunk, to be honest. A lot of beers the entire day.
Yeah, sure. When you do, it's always, I did some mixes at the end of the party, sometimes at 5 or 6. And it's difficult to stay very clean until that time. And yeah,
you don't have to.
I can feel it, yeah.
If you don't have to drive or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever, just have fun. So I did, and that also, I don't know, it made me feel like one of the party people. And again, that's also what I try every single time, is to really feel the crowd. And it might sound cheesy or strange, but if I look at where I get the most satisfaction, it started back in the days when I had to do warming up sets and really look at people and also dare to look at people. I also knew, had times that I played my first sets and I was like in my cocoon and just a little bit scared and nervous, but I think you learn to look at your crowd, and I saw maybe 2 people moving and I knew, I have to go in this direction a little bit, and then the other 2 started moving, then you start getting the dance for full, and I think I get a lot of satisfaction there. Yeah. In this case, everybody was warm, obviously. Before me was Rose Ring, so that's really nice, more tech housey, a lot of melodics in there, but people were warm, but then it became dark. Yeah, it was a summer evening. Yeah. So that also changes the atmosphere, I think. And then I went full on, not much build up. But I do think about my sets, if it's an outdoor festival or club night, and a lot of people ask me this a lot, often actually, how do you prepare? And I have to admit that I work in blocks in my record box playlists. Okay. I'm terribly organized. I have a lot of folders with genres or feelings or this or that. So I can find my music fast, even before the time that you had to keyboard search and you had to find your music with the button and just go through your folders. But I normally think the intro and the first 3 or 4 tracks, I have a plan. I know I want to start like this, and then I have energy blocks, I have some tracks that are more acid, I have a few tracks that are maybe a bit more offbeat or have vocals, I have some in-between tracks with vocals, like an African voice and something really tribal in there, so I can use it as a 3rd deck track and stuff like that, and closing. So I have these blocks in the playlist that I can switch around in. The combinations aren't set. It's not that I do have, like everyone, that last week this worked really well, this track plus this track, and then this effect or that 3rd track, but most of the time I kind of wing it, but I prepare in feelings almost. So I know that when everybody's getting a bit tired and I see it, that I have something melodic or more linear that they can breathe for 1 or 2 tracks, and taking a bit gas off also works really well. If you go high energy after that again, it works. It's having that dynamic in your set. Yeah. So that's how I
Very interesting. So you have tips and tricks from a professional?
It's nice of you to say. I don't see myself as a professional, but I do see myself as someone really, how do you call it? You have OCD, this compulsive disorder that you really have to, I have to organize stuff. That's my thing. Yeah. And I think that again allows me to quickly find the music I need. It gives me more peace of mind when I'm playing a set, because I know my best friend, he always laughs at this. He goes like, Jesus, look at your USB stick or whatever, your disc. Your hard disk that you have with you is so organized. My God, I'm like, sorry, but
but then I have more a spontaneous question linked to that. Don't you think it's necessary when you use digital devices nowadays? Because I mean, it's not like searching in your vinyls. You know the cover, you see just the color. You know which vinyl is it, which style is behind that, or you just have a look and see, okay, this one I know, or this will be good, this won't, maybe this will be good, then you test it, no, it's not the right one. But then in digital, you have the computer, or you have the CD player, or USB, and you have no physical things. So how can you then identify your tracks if you don't structure them?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's exactly like you said, and even this day, today, I still recognize tracks in my record box or when I'm scrolling on the CDJs.
Yeah.
By the cover. I still do that. The yellow one. I need the yellow one now. I go search for the yellow one. But you're right. It's harder, I think. For me, it's also hard because that compulsive behavior in organizing is also you can also recognize it in when I'm looking for tracks. You used to have the limited space of a record store, which was also nice. Looking for that one record, or the night before or something like that in the club, and you're like an imbecile looking at the record that's playing, you're trying to read it or remember the cover or the color, you go to the record store. Yeah. But that's what you had to work with. You had this, every Thursday there was a new batch and then maybe something new. And now, the problem I have now is that, well, a problem, it's almost a luxury problem, but then again, it's a lot of clutter, there's a lot of noise out there, there's a lot of music out there, and when I go on Bandcamp or Beatport or whatever, or Tracks or whatever platform, and then I discover an artist that I haven't heard of yet, and then I open another tab to look at all his work, and then I see a label that's apparently in that style that I haven't opened the label in another tab, and all of a sudden it's 4 hours later and I'm still listening to music. And like on Beatport, for me, sometimes it's a disaster. I have a system now. I have a lot of music in my cart. I think there's a limit, 150 tracks. I don't buy music every month anymore because that's also something I did which wasn't useful. I was buying a lot that I didn't play. So what I do now is I have this huge cart and then I go selecting and maybe get 100 tracks, which is way too much. You can't play so much music. I have this tool, I don't know, I think it's called Soundis or something. It's a website and it allows you to convert Beatport playlists of your cart, my cart, to Spotify playlists. And then I can hear the tracks full length. So I listen to them in the car all the time, and then I really make a selection. What I'm doing actually this week, because I have to play this weekend. And I reduced it from 150 now to 38.
Okay,
and then I have the final. Then I have the final selection. But you're absolutely right. I think when it was vinyl, you had a connection with an object, and then there was music on there that also caused an emotion or something. I still remember looking for a color of a record and going like, I need this right now. It's the moment. I have to drop this because they will go crazy. And you don't have that maybe with MP3 anymore. So that's a challenge to find a good way of working there. And I have to admit, I probably spent way too much money on music that I, in the end, never played. I don't know how big my digital collection is. I know how big my record collection is. And even there, I still rediscover music now that I maybe bought for the A1 side. And now I listen to it 20 years later and you go like, oh, the B2 is really cool. So yeah, that's still different. And what you do then, you rip it to an MP3 because so many locations don't have turntables anymore, unfortunately. Here I can still do it. The guys always put techniques from me and they're in good order, good needle, everything is good. So
Great. On Instagram, back again on Instagram, we can see that you share the post with the Bright Bookings Agency, a Belgian booking agency. Can you tell us more about your collaboration with them?
It's very new, but I'm very happy with it. It's guys that I trust, that I've known for a long time, because honestly, it's DJing has always been a really big part of my life, but it's always been one of the important things, not the main. It wasn't my main job. It wasn't. I never had. Maybe I had the ambition, but meanwhile, again, happy with what I have, and I'm happy that what I'm doing and what I did in Belgium, it's fun, and I always did it myself. So the bookings and the contact with the organizers and the promoters. And then I had, before COVID, I had also worked with a booking agency, but then we stopped, which was fine, and then COVID happened, and then, as we said already, I had to rethink a little bit what I wanted to do with the DJing stuff. I was still passionate about it, but I felt that I maybe was looking for other stuff in my life, next to my job. I went into nature a lot. I enjoy being in the Ardennes. I love it there. I love doing some bushcraft stuff and playing with my axe and knife. It gives me peace. And doing nice hikes and walks and camping. And so I was looking for balance, and then a few months ago I started talking to Sam and Kenneth from Bride Bookings, and they told me about their plans, and they know very well what I bring as a DJ, which I take as very sincerely. It's really nice things that they say, really nice compliments. Yeah. They told me like, hey, I think it's good if you play a little bit more again, because I told them I don't have to play every weekend. I'm getting older, right? I want to sleep a little bit, which is fine, and do other stuff, but a bit more.
You work also.
I also work a lot.
A main work, which takes a lot of time also. So
it's all about balance, and nowadays I'm really happy if I have 1 or 2 gigs, nice gigs per month that I really enjoy, that I can work towards and do something cool. And they understand this, and they said like, listen, you have a lot of experience, you did a lot of stuff in Belgium, sometimes even a bit in France and the Netherlands. I did some stuff in Germany, and then I want to play a little bit more, which is fine. So they know that the level of my ambition, they understand. I don't think that I'll be traveling the whole world, and that's not my ambition anymore. But to do nice gigs in Belgium, or maybe in the Netherlands or Germany, whatever pops up is fine. So there's no pressure on them. The other way around, there's not a lot of pressure on me. We both know what we can achieve together. Mm-hmm. And we're building now. I think they have a really nice roster, really diverse. The guys know what they're doing. We have a lot of interesting talks about where we want to go and which parties would be nice to contact and see if there's a match. Because above everything, and that's also the reason that I like playing here, it's the same. I'm really DJing is not only the music, but it's also the people for me. And again, I might sound cheesy, but it is. A lot of people, even you, I got to know you on these parties in Wallonia, Namur, what was it, Technoise and all this stuff.
Yeah, indeed.
And we saw each other a lot when I was playing in Wallonia. It's also always the same friends that you were with. Yeah. And we still have a nice contact because we had fun together. Indeed. And that's, for me, it's important. I had the same in Petrol Club. You came in, you know the guy that does the light, you know even the woman or the guy that does the toilets. And it's a mini society, like a night society, and that's why I enjoy. And these guys get that as well. And if I play for a promoter and he sends me a mail afterwards, or he gives me feedback, like genuine, like really enjoyed having you over, and a friendly guy, and we had a good time, we'll ask you again next year, not only because you had a nice set, but also because you're a nice guy, then I'm happy. Yeah. And that's what I like about Bride Bookings. They get that. It's the human side that's really important for me. I'd rather have 5 parties in a year, but all these guys are happy. I know them. I see them at other parties, or even during the week for a coffee. You know, it's cool. I prefer that. So Bride Bookings, I'm really enthusiastic about the future with them. And again, it's pretty new. It's pretty recent. I made a new picture actually in the same spot because my old artist picture was 10 years old. I don't look like that anymore, unfortunately.
No, you still look good.
Thank you. You too, by the way.
Thank you.
I don't know how many years it was, but I recognized you immediately. Yes.
I stopped counting.
Yeah, a bit gray, but me too. That's the only thing that changed.
Yeah, that's giving the good side. Apparently, women like that.
It's the George Clooney effect. No. To conclude, it's nice guys, and
cool.
I'm really curious about what's it going to be, and they're already putting me on some nice parties in the next months that I really feel a good connection to. Also, people that I know. So we'll see. I'm positive and enthusiastic about Bride Bookings.
Nice.
Yeah.
The last mix you posted on your SoundCloud is titled Second Trip in Temperance. So I was there. Seems like a special term. First, and maybe the second question also, what does Temperance mean to you? And what brought you there for your first trip? And why did you return to Temperance?
It's a really good question, Stephen. I got the question a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I enjoy, and that may sound silly, but I still enjoy these moments when I have a lot of new music and I have a night off and I take out a good, nice glass of rum and I just, without preparation, mostly, put all this new music in a folder, I start mixing. And then I make a nice cover, really old school. I used to print them on CDs and shit, but now it's digital, so I still make a cover in Canva. I do it myself.
Yeah.
And the title is really funny, but Temperance is actually a translation. It's like living life in moderation.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I made my researches on the web.
Yeah, good people, people on Google Translate.
Yeah.
No, but
Wikipedia also.
yeah,
And then
funny.
two more articles, but then it was too spiritual.
Yeah, too religious.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
I
I get
wanted
it.
to go back to the mix.
And the explanation is so simple.
Yeah.
We actually, me and my girlfriend, we moved. I have to think, is it 2 years ago already? Whatever, something like that. We renovated our house, and during all this time, everybody who has done house renovations will know what I'm talking about. You do it once and then never again.
Yeah.
And then when it's done, or like the big stuff is done, with me, the final steps were like installing my DJ gear in the attic and my desk and my monitors, and all the stuff that was music related was the last to be installed and be fixed. And when that was finished, I had all this new music. I wanted to relax and make a mix. And actually the street where we moved to, if you translate it freely from Dutch, it's Temperance Street.
All right.
So my first trip in Temperance is actually the first set I recorded in my new house.
Nice.
And that's it. But then again, temperance, like moderation, is also something, like I said, balance. It's still, it's a topic. I think maybe even a struggle, again, relating to the social media, why I quit. I think I have a tendency to put the bar high for myself and doubt and go like, shouldn't I start producing anyway? I'm not a producer. I did some stuff with a good friend of mine, but I'm really a DJ and not a producer.
Yeah.
These days, I had to do it maybe years ago if I really wanted to make something of a career and make my own music, but I never had I'm too into details, and it was overwhelming for me. But I always put the bar high, so moderation in that and being happy with what you can do, what you've already done, what you have in your life right now. I think for me it's an important topic, especially in a world where it's never enough. It's never enough. You can do so many things. You see so many people doing so many things that you might also enjoy, but I think that's the art of sticking to yourself, kind of. Again, sounding fluffy, but I think it's important. It's also something that COVID brought me is the world was standing still, especially events in my job and in DJing and partying, and then you go.
Yeah. For me, it was nightmare. No party. It was a crazy period. Yeah. I remember when I went to the exposition of the Fuse. Yeah. They made a kind of flashback over the past years, and then you could enjoy 5 or 10 minutes of music in the motion room, loud. In the club, I was there, wow, and my girlfriend was just laughing. What are you doing? So, partying. Yeah. And crazy, I thought that we would never do party again. Yeah. It was really a crazy period, but
it was. Yeah, it was, and it's funny how much we all needed to hear loud music and especially be together on a dance floor. And I get it. But anyway, that's the story behind my second trip. My second set that I recorded in my new house in Temperance. So but I'm glad that you enjoyed it. It's a lot of old and new music in there, and I enjoyed making it. So
cool.
Good question.
Yeah.
Get to the bottom of the title. What is it?
What is this?
Yeah, it's good. Now you know.
Okay. There is one question I forgot to ask you. So we talked about outdoor events where you were mixing also with your family there. Yeah. Those events have their own touch, for sure. But, and I think we agree on that, the club experience is what gets the closest to our electronic music culture. On your SoundCloud, you posted a 3-hour warm-up mix for Ben Klock, recorded here in the Club Vaag. Can you tell us more about the way you build up the mixes when you prepare the crowd for the main act?
I really enjoy doing that. I also posted that on Instagram, funnily enough, that I think warming up is maybe an art as a DJ or a skill that is underestimated by many, because it's not only about track selection, it's also about mixing style. Yeah. Because I recognize in this mix especially, I started really slow. It was empty here, so what's the use? You're playing for the people at the bar and yourself. So you start with some nice melodies and stuff that I might not usually play, but I enjoy as music, and then you start building it up. And in the beginning you're not going to do 3-deck mixing or fast changeovers of tracks. It's more mellow, and again, then you start looking at your crowd, people start coming in. With Ben Klock it was nice because it felt like Petrol days. There was a lot of people from those days.
Yeah.
As you might remember, in Petrol, when we did the warming up, was close to the entrance.
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
And people came in and everybody said hello, 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 can give you a hug, hand, whatever, handshake. I had the same feeling, and a lot of people from that period were here.
Okay.
So nice to see familiar faces. So I had the same feeling being in the middle of everything, and then you can really read, okay. And I actually played a lot of tracks from that period as well, an old Recondite that you will know, EC10 I think it's called. It's a really cool track that builds up tension. And for me, that one, and you might recognize it in the mix, it's a really long break. It's kind of eerie, and it's kind of a scary sound, but it builds up tension, and it goes like, it's a nice break and a nice climax. And for me, even if it was 15 years ago at Hertz as a resident at Petrol Club, that track was kind of the tipping point. And I felt, okay, everybody is moving and they want a bit harder or a bit more energy. I'll play this Recondite, and then I can pick up the pace because the break also allows to put the BPM a little bit higher. Then I have this Joris Voren track that I always like to play next to it, and then it's just feeling. And I was really cool because Ben Klock was also happy about the warming up, because again, nowadays you also, that's not only nowadays, I don't want to generalize, but I experienced parties also in clubs that you had this warming up DJ or warming up act, and it was their first chance to play at a big party, and they went like, I have to go hard, and now is my moment. And then from zero to hero in 5 minutes, they think I have to go, but it has the opposite effect. I think a good warming up act can make or break an evening for some people. For me it does. A good warming up is for me, it's really necessary to, I don't know, listen to a story, get in the mood. And Ben Klock was happy too as well, so that's the most important. And
nice.
I had a lot of plays on that set. I think it's also because Ben Klock is in the set title. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people found it some way, and it started.
It's also about referencing, for sure.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So that's how I go about it. And there I do more selection on tracks. I have a longer list, but then you also have more time in the beginning. And then once the set it is a 3-hour set, and also especially in the first hour and a half, I'm constantly going through my list and tagging. You know, okay, this track worked well, so this is kind of the same or whatever, so I'm going to tag this one because I know once it gets a bit fuller and I get some first screams or whistles, then I'll play this, and then I'll get even more energy back, and that's how I like to play around with that. And if it works, it's a nice rush.
Yeah.
If all that preparation and that trial and error, if it pays off, its satisfaction is huge. Maybe even more than a peak time set, because then you can just go and do your thing and go full throttle. And warming up and closing, it's two disciplines that need some TLC, some tender loving care if you want to do it right.
Nice. Well resumed.
Thank you. That's how I see it.
So we talked about yesterday, about today. So let's have a look into the future. Let's finish this awesome interview with a last question about the future, your future. Can you tell us more about your forthcoming projects?
As I said, I'm really looking forward to what Bright Bookings and myself will do in the next months, years maybe. Again, I think for me the most important is I realize that I have a gap being COVID and being invisible from socials, and even if I kept playing in certain parties and clubs, I've been invisible. So I think my first step, also with this interview, by the way, thank you.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
Will also help in just showing people who I am and what I stand for. I know there's promoters out there that know me and know what I do and what I do well with a lot of passion. And I think with the guys from Bright Bookings, that will be the focus, to find the right connections with the right parties that are looking for a DJ that can go really broad in a lot of subgenres of techno.
Yeah.
For me, it's still about discovery of new music, because honestly, there's a lot of also really good music coming out. Hardgroove is back.
Yeah, indeed.
The tempo is again on 140 BPMs. Is really normal these days, so I love that. So I'm still discovering a lot of music. I do have to admit that there are some ideas to make some music my best friend from Mechelen, Malin, Jonathan Knox, really good DJ. I play a lot of stuff together. I play a lot of back-to-back sets with him, also in closed private groups with friends. And you have to imagine that he's really well known in psytrance and Goa music.
Oh, all right, cool.
And trance, he's the master there. For me, he's the best DJ there. He's a really good producer, and when we do stuff together, I've known him for years, and what I got from him was another influence in other music genres. So if we play together, and we are playing together at a festival, I think it's in beginning of May, Soul Tribe.
All right.
I know it's the beginning of May, but I think it's the 8th, but I don't want to make a mistake here. But Soul Tribe Festival here in Antwerp, we're going to play back-to-back sets. It's going to be a mix of trance, Goa, psytrance, techno, everything mixed. So, but I've also been in the studio with him a few times, and it's just a question of finishing some stuff. So maybe there's some music coming, but no pressure there.
Yeah. Okay.
And for the rest, there's some nice concepts in Mechelen, my hometown, that some friends of mine are doing, and it might be that I'll help them organize and curate a little bit. There's a lot of stuff. Again, it's about balance, finding the right time for the right project.
Yeah.
And for now, I think the first one is to keep relevant, being relevant as a DJ with promoters that want to give me a shot, want to give me an hour or two to see what I can do on the floor, and just hoping that the art of DJing is still valued because that's important. I think I enjoy talking to people also like you that know what it takes to perform a solid mix with 3 decks, select good technique, logical story, giving gas, taking energy to give it back, and that dynamic, and everything has become so easily accessible these days, whereas I had to sell some of my Xbox and PlayStations to buy turntables and vinyl. Nowadays it's so easy to become a DJ, and that's fine. I love it that it's so accessible, but it's like with a plumber, you know. If I renovated my house, and I would prefer a plumber with 15 years experience, knowing what he's doing to my pipes, than becoming a really good artist or DJ also takes time, I think, because you build up skills and a musical library, and you can go places where people haven't seen yet, and I think that's worth something at least. So that's going to be the trick, to find that balance for myself, keep playing nice gigs and being happy with it, doing nice stuff with bright bookings. We'll see.
Great.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what will happen in the future, but I wish you the best for it.
Thanks.
Good luck, and the most important, I think, is enjoy it.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree. And thank you for the interview, Stephen. It was really nice seeing you.
You're welcome, man. My pleasure. And maybe a last thing. First of all, I hope you enjoyed this new meeting. And as usual, you will find the links in here under. just as a reminder, even if you went out from the social media, you came back, and now I think it's the moment also to gather visitors and followers. So don't hesitate to follow WJ on his Instagram, SoundCloud, or visit his website.
Yes.
So thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.